third unit of RFID and flexible sensors. It includes RFID readers, printers, and reader protocols and basic components in the sense both physical and then logical. And it deals some vendor protocols with lightweight RFID reader protocols also. So first one is physical components of an RFID reader. Here it's an efficiency of an RFID system relies on the seamless interactions of its physical and the logical components. So this is the block diagram of physical components of an RFID. Here, the tag antenna enables reliable communication by capturing and reflecting the radio signals, while the controller within the reader manage data processing, protocol handling, and anti-collision techniques. The network interface just ensure smooth connectivity between reader and enterprise systems. It just allowing a real-time data transfer. So finally the RFID middleware act as the intelligence layer that filters, interprets and integrates RFID data into business applications. So together these elements form a robust ecosystem that enables accurate identification, tracking and management of objects across diverse industries. The next one is logical components of an RFID reader. It includes that RFID reader and comes to an API, then communication and then event management and then antenna subsystem. So I have to explain one by one. So the first thing is reader API, right? So this is a reader API. API, it means application programming interface. So a set of programming instructions and standards that allow applications or middleware to communicate with RFID reader. So what is the purpose? In the sense, it provides a uniform way to configure readers, control antennas and retrieves tag data. So hides hardware complexity by offering a standard software interface. For example, using low level reader protocol, which means it is an EPC global standard for reader protocol. Then comes to an proprietary API, it just offer reader manufacturer, for example Zebra, LM pin, like that. So the function of reader API, it's conclude just start and stop the reading or set power levels and frequency channels and manage antennas and fetch the tag read results. Then comes to an communication part, the process by which RFID readers exchange data with the tags and backend system. So two levels of communication. First one is reader tag and second one is reader middleware or host system. Okay, so the first thing is reader tag is uses RF air interface protocol. So it handles encoding, decoding, modulation, demodulation and then anti-collisions. Then comes to an reader and middleware, which means host system in the sense it uses network protocols like Ethernet or Wi-Fi or RS-232 like and USB, like that. Then comes to an standard logical protocols like MQTT, HTTP and some other web services. So it just ensure reliable, secure and real-time transfer of tag data to an applications. The third one is event management. So the process of interpreting a raw tag reads into meaningful business events. The problem is a reader generates thousands of duplicate reads in a few seconds. So without filtering, systems would be overloaded. So the functions of event management is just filtering and aggregation and event generation and then routing. So in filtering, it just removes duplicates and noises. Then comes to an aggregation, it groups multiple reads into the single event. In event generation, it converts data into business terms like pallet 101 entered as a gate A, for example. So, in comes to in routing, just sends events to enterprise systems like ERP. So this standards used EPC Global ALE, that is application level events. It defines standards way to report RFID events. So last one is antenna subsystem. So part of the reader responsible for transmitting RF signals to the tag and receiving backscatter signals. The components is one or more antennas connected to the reader, RF cables and switches for multi-antenna setups. So it can be functioned by a direct radio energy to the reading zone. So it defines read range, coverage and polarization. So obviously it support multiplexing. So it works under a reader control to optimize scanning in large areas, but their design considerations is based on only polarization and then getting higher gain with placement in the sense it may be affects read reliability, so it should maintained. So I have to conclude that reader API, one second. So I have to conclude that reader API, it means software interface to configure and control RFID readers. Okay. The second one is communication. It just handle both air interface and then network protocols. Okay. Third one is event management. It just filters, aggregates and translates the raw reads into useful business events. Okay. Final one is antenna subsystem. It's an hardware that transmits or receives the RF signals. It just redefining the system's coverage and performance. So this is an parts of an RFID printer and then applicator. Here it is an a specialized device that prints labels with embedded RFID tags, encodes data onto the tags, and then it automatically applies the labels to products, cartons or pallets. So it combines three main functions like printing, encoding and applying into one integrated systems. So here are the major parts of an RFID printer and then applicator. This RFID reader or encoder. So this is the core RFID unit inside of the printer. This is the main parts of an RFID printer and applicator. The first one is RFID reader or encoder. So this is the core RFID unit inside the printer. So it encodes or writes the EPC, that means an unique ID, and other data onto the RFID inlay embedded inside the label. So it also read back the encoded data to check if the process was successful. Without this, the printer would only print graphics or text on the label but not make it RFID enabled. Then comes to an verifier. So the verifier is a quality check system. So after the RFID reader writes data, the verifier reads the tag again to confirm. So correct data has been written, the tag is working properly. If the tag is defective or fails encoding, the printer can mark it's a bad and skip it or send it to an reject bin. So it ensures only valid RFID labels are applied to the products. Then comes to an printer, it works like a normal thermal or thermal transfer printer. So it prints text, barcodes and graphics on the surface of the RFID label. It ensures human readable information and barcode backup in addition to the RFID data. So it includes print head, ribbon slash so it includes print head, ink system, and media feed and sensors. The final one is applicator. It is a mechanical system that automatically applies the encoded RFID label onto products, boxes, or pallets. So the final one is applicator. It is a mechanical system that automatically applies the encoded RFID label onto the products, boxes, or pallets. So the application methods, it illustrate the TAMS level and then blow level and wipe or roller levels. So save times compared to manual sticking and ensure proper placements. So the working process is label fed into the printer, RFID reader or encoder writes the data, and verifier checks if it's correct or false. Printer prints the barcode or text or logo printed on label. Then comes to when final one, applicator applies it finished RFID label automatically placed on product or carton.